Thanks to the support as a channel member, Robert Bannerman. Well, here we go then, folks. 1 win in 2 matches is all we need to avoid the playoffs and secure our spot in the National League for next season. Should be easy enough, right? Hello and welcome to part 18 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final 2 games of the regular season. We're at home against Leamington in the LOLLUJO derby. Can't even say my own name, the LOLLUJO derby. Tip, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, pick a name where people can say it and spell it. Word of mouth is difficult when I can't even say it myself. The LOLLUJO derby. We're also away against Braintree on the last day. If we win one of them, that'll be enough. We won our game in hand against Alfreton, which leaves us 5 points clear of Fylde with 2 games remaining. We've also got a slightly better goal difference, although realistically, if we lose both our games and they win both of their games, their goal difference is going to be better than ours. So we can't just get by with assuming a draw might be enough, or we just win a game, beat Leamington. That's all we got to do. Beat Leamington, and we're in the National League. And what a wonderful thing that would be. This is the team we're going to put out there to try and get that job done. We've got Marshall in goal, a back four of Sayer, Terry, Johnson and McKnight, Smith at the base of the midfield, Husin and Cisse in centre mid, with Roberts in behind, Sewell and Campton Sturridge up front. I just want to get into the action. We're getting the team submitted. I am ready to join the National League. I have decided I've signed a new 2-year contract at the club, still only on £750 a week. Only, he says, as if that's not an extraordinary amount of money for someone at Peterborough Sports to be earning. It's certainly good enough for me to get a very nice flat in Peterborough, which we're still living in 2 years in. But I'm ready for the step up. We haven't had any kind of job offers or anything yet. Obviously, Non-League to Legend, there is always the opportunity for us to move clubs. We've not had anything of that. But I feel like a step up to the league above at this point is a nice, fresh challenge for us here at Sports, but also puts me in the shop window potentially for a bigger club to come sniffing if it's the right move. So exciting stuff. Just got to make it happen now. That's all there is to it. We've had a bright start. We've had all of the early chances, all of the early highlights. Leamington seemingly not turning up just yet, which suits me absolutely fine. After all I did for Leamington and FM23, they owe me. They can just roll over, let us have our win, and the trophy celebration in the middle of the pitch at the B Arena would be absolutely glorious. I don't even know if the ground is suitable for a step up to the league above. I guess that's one of the delightful things we're potentially about to find out. Let's not count our chickens before they're hatched. One other thing probably to mention, obviously no videos at all on the channel over the weekend. That's not going to be an ongoing thing. We're still not going to have Non-League to Legend at the weekend. Non-League to Legend is a Monday to Friday only series, and will be throughout the series. But we will have the one-off videos at the weekends more often than not. I just figured with this being the first full weekend of the World Cup, you were probably all going to be watching that. I know what you like, you rascals, always watching the World Cup. So I figured use it as a bit of catch-up time for those of you who are watching the World Cup midweek and not able to watch Non-League to Legend, and not throw more videos at you. But the weekend videos will be back this coming weekend. Got some bits in mind for that. And of course, the Twitch streams are still happening most evenings, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. And the replays, the highlights of those appear on LOLLUJO 2 daily as well. So make sure you're subscribed over there. There's plenty of content is what I'm getting at. Back into this match. It's still 0-0 on the half-hour mark. I haven't looked what Fylde are doing. I mean, if Fylde lose, a draw here is enough. But we don't want to do this via the back door. We want to win. We want to win comfortably, and we are losing. Kelsey Mooney, one of our heroes from the early days of the Leamington save last year, has just got his 23rd goal of the season. Worth a scout, maybe. I mean, we've got plenty of strikers who can do that. It's defensively that we've got a little bit of a problem here. Sayer demonstrating that as much as he's a good winger, he's not much of a left back. But, you know, I value his attacking qualities more than his defensive ones in this system. I'm relying on the 2 centre-backs and the defensive midfielder to do all our defending for us, and for us to basically swarm forward and out-attack the opposition. That's the plan. Right, what are Fylde doing? Fylde are also losing. So actually, as it stands, it doesn't matter at all. We can lose here and still win the league. What an anticlimactic way to do it. But I'm all about the anticlimax. We're going attacking, though, for the second half. We want to try and make out that it was all in our own hands and that we've not done it thanks to Farsley beating Fylde. But let's try and grab ourselves a goal. Smith, with the free kick from the edge of the area, goes just over. We might have to switch the system up a little bit to try something a little bit different. We seem to be struggling to create good chances in this match. We're getting a lot of the ball. We're getting a lot of highlights. We're getting a lot of shots, but they're all kind of meaningless long-range efforts. We're not creating any good chances. It might be an idea to get some bodies out wide and get some crosses in to big boys up top. We have the personnel to be able to switch to that if need be. Campton Sturridge plays it into Cisse, and now Hussein from midfield shoots from range. Just as I'm saying, all we're getting are meaningless long-range shots. A meaningless long-range shot ends up in the back of the net, and Hussein is doing a cartwheel to celebrate his first ever goal for Peterborough Sports. Getting a little bit ahead of yourselves there, son. We'll save the cartwheel for the trophy celebration, thank you very much. But it's a lovely effort from range. I mean, he's placed that perfectly. No way the goalkeeper's getting to it. It's 1-1. It's still 1-0 to Farsley in the game against Fylde, although it did look like Farsley have just had a player sent off. So expect a Fylde comeback. This is where we'd really like some picture-in-picture on Football Manager. If Sports Interactive are watching, and I know you are, give me picture-in-picture for moments like this. And Smith, oh, that was the best chance we've had in the game so far. Great work from Cisse, creating the opportunity for Smith, and he just absolutely levers it iron wide. Not ideal. A little bit of composure there wouldn't have gone amiss. And it's now not Boston, it's Leamington we're playing. They all wear the same kits. Like, there you go. I've finally broken my relationship with Leamington. You're basically wearing Boston kits. And Terry has just given away a penalty. We need a Marshall moment here. They never happen, but now would be a really nice time for one. No. I was half out of my seat getting ready for it, but Kelsey Mooney scores again, this time from the penalty spot. He's having a lovely time. No Boston kits for him, that's for sure. And what are we going to do here? Do we go back to the original plan of maybe getting some players out wide? Or do we have faith that this system that has turned our season around in the last half dozen matches or so, do we have faith that this system is going to come good again one more time? McKnight crosses it over to Cisse at the far post. Couldn't quite get enough purchase on it. And it's now Sayer on the edge of the area. Gives the ball away. Smith, though, lumping it forward to Campton Sturridge. Brings it down nicely. Plays it across goal. Cisse, what a save from the Leamington goalkeeper. Goodness me, that was point-blank range from Cisse. And the shot does go over from the save, and it's Campton Sturridge to take the resultant corner. Looking for that near post. Nobody can make good contact with it, but Smith has the ball back on the edge of the area, teeing up another effort. And it's another one of those meaningless long-range efforts that just aren't getting us anywhere. Right. We have wingers on the bench. We have a 6'4" striker on the bench. It feels like this is what we're going to do. So let's keep the right bodies on in midfield. We probably want those two, I would suggest, as the two most likely to create chances. And then we're going to bring him on. We're going to bring him on. And we're going to bring him on. And we're just going to go proper old school, get the ball out wide. We probably want him overlapping the inverted winger ahead of him. So just get the ball out wide, get crosses in, 6'4" striker. It's simple non-league stuff that has served us well throughout most of the 2 years at Peterborough Sports so far. We don't need to worry too much because Fylde are still losing, and it was actually an injury, not a red card, that Farsley suffered, but you never know when an equaliser could come. It's precarious there. And now we have a corner. It's Sayer. 6'4" striker, anyone? Terry wins the ball, and there is the 6'4" striker, Bakayoko, from the set piece. We did the old bait and switch, aiming for Terry at the far post, who heads it back across goal, and Bakayoko, the enormous lump of awesome that he is there to nod in at the near post. It's a beautifully worked set piece, and it's 2-2. And I mean, it was already enough before. We were still 5 points clear. That really should be enough, though. Farsley are 2-0 up over Fylde. A winner here would be perfect, but it's absolutely not needed. I think we've won the National League North, boys and girls. Johnson plays it forward, looking for Quirk, who has been fouled. We've got a penalty in the 94th minute, and Bakayoko has the chance to put us in the lead so we can actually say we won our match to win the league. That would be very pleasant. Bakayoko, it's going to be the final kick of the game. We're 4 minutes deep in injury time already. Bakayoko scores. It's 3-2 to Peterborough Sports. We're off to the National League, and we've done it in wonderful style. The 6'4" giant has come on, turned the game on its head, and now we're just hoping that we get a trophy presentation because they've been so glitched in and out of the game in recent versions. Are we going to get to see the trophy? No, is the answer to that question. Thanks, Football Manager. What a way to take the shine off of it. I'm fairly sure we have won the league. We're 8 points clear with 1 game to go. Now, I know my maths is questionable at times, but I think that's enough to win the league. Why no trophy celebration? Maybe we'll get it in the next match. I mean, there's your confirmation. We have been promoted. We have won the league. We're going to get budgets here as well. For context, the budgets at the moment, we had 0 transfer budget, about £10,000 a week wage budget, but we're only spending about 7,500, but we're massively in debt. So it's going to be interesting to see if we actually get an increase in our budgets for the new league, because they could argue we're not spending what we've got at the moment and we need to penny pinch. So our budgets are less than what we had for this season. I had a feeling that might happen. That's the problem when you're below your wage budget. So we've got promoted and they've actually reduced our budget. We're not going to be able to do a huge number of transfers this summer. And it's going to be tough to stay up in the National League. But you know what? We've made it to the National League. So who cares? I'd like a permanent deal struck for Terry as well. Don't think it's going to happen because the guy's earning £300 a week. And that's £375 a week. And he's under contract for another year at where is it? Somewhere. Where is he on loan from? Colchester. I don't think we're signing him permanently. But we won the league. Who cares? We'll worry about all the problems another day. For now, we'll play our final match. Hopefully, get to see a trophy presentation. And then tomorrow, we can get ourselves prepared for what has the potential to be a long, hard season in the division above. One thing we have made a start on, though, is Operation Get the Band Back Together. I've had a look through the club icons, club legends. We can't bring club legend Jimmy Dean back because he's now managing Maidenhead. But Richard Jones and Mark Jones, who'd both been at the club for years, Richard Jones, and playing in local Peterborough football for years as well. I mean, 5 years out from a potential crossover of me as a Blackstones teammate there. But no. And Mark Jones was also at the club for a pretty long time and again did the round. I think these two are brothers. They were both born in Slough and they've both been around Peterborough their entire non-league careers. But Richard Jones, we've trying to offer him a job as a youth team coach, but he's wanting too much money at the moment. But we have been able to bring in Mark Jones as our new head of youth development. You might say he doesn't look any good as a head of youth development. I'd counter that with, look at the guy he was replacing. So I guess he's got 19 for working with youngsters, but they're roughly equivalent. Mark Jones is in, new head of youth development at Peterborough Sports. We're getting the band back together. We're going to look to bring in Richard Jones as well. I've already got Dan Lawler earmarked for a future coaching role just as soon as he's done with his playing career. He's playing for Ebbsfleet at the moment, but I'd like to bring him back. He had a long career here. Josh Moorman, Avelino Vieira, Victor Watt, I don't know who these guys are. They weren't here under my watch, so I'm less worried about bringing them back. But Jones, and Lawler were all here when I joined the club. So bringing them back. We've already got Michael Gash in the coaching setup as well. It just makes sense to get that boot room feel in this lovely little club. Jamie Sewell has made it onto favoured personnel as well. But Mark Jones, welcome back. Please bring us in some good youth players because at the moment it is fairly slim pickings in our youth setup, and we'd like some better options, please. The best youth players we've got at the moment. I signed him and he's leaving. And then this guy, one of our name in the game players, is the best up and coming prospect we've got from this year's youth intake. But I think we can do better. And hopefully Mark Jones will facilitate that process. Right, just shuffling things a little bit around again for the final game of the season. Braintree have already finished bottom. We're already relegated. We're playing all of the loanees in the back four. Just really to have one final look at them to decide who we might want to bring back for next season. The obvious one is Frankie Terry. He's been brilliant for us since coming in. If we can get him on loan again, that would be awesome. But we'll have a look at all of them. all together. I don't think I've played all 4 of them together at any point before now. We're trying Donnelly at the base of the midfield as well. Theoretically, he can play there. We've never played him there, but he's done well at left back, at centre back. Why not try him somewhere else as well? He's actually attracting interest from bigger clubs than us, so he might not be much longer for Peterborough Sports anyway. Onyeka's also attracting interest. Marshall, Dundee are interested in Marshall, who sits this one out so that we can have a look at Louis Malden in goal as well. And then we're trying Onyeka and Sewell up front as today's strike partnership. Let's get this submitted. I'm particularly interested in looking at Malden today. We've already got him tied down to a contract for next season. Both him and Marshall are contracted to next year, so Malden will be sticking around. What I'm really looking at is, if Marshall goes to Dundee, are we confident in Malden to be our starting goalkeeper for next year, or does he stay as a backup? So we want to, I know one game against the team that's already relegated is difficult to judge him on. Got to give him opportunities when we can. Sewell is going to take the penalty, and he scores, and it's 1-0 to Peterborough Sports. His 30th goal of the season. Lovely, lovely. I mean, we should absolutely rattle goals in against this lot today. Like I say, already relegated. We are already champions, and we're looking to set an enormous points total. Would this put us to 100 points? Or will we all... Is 98 including us being in the lead in this game? I'd love to get 100 points. It's not often you get to do 100 points, especially when this season has looked so iffy from time to time. No, I think the 98 includes the fact we've already scored. 10 points clear at the top of the league, though, absolutely doesn't tell the story of the season. It was touch and go right up until those final few games, but we just found form when it mattered. The switch to the diamond really did add us that extra layer of consistency that we never had before. Sayer with the in-swinging corner. There's nobody really there to receive it. I don't know why Terry is lurking in the position that he was lurking in. He should have been on that far post getting underneath the header. You know that's where he's instructed to be. You saw him there in the last match, winning the header back across goal for Bakayoko. But now he seems to be lurking on the edge of the area. Set piece instructions have a mind of their own in this game. Onyeka heading clear, and Idian is there to lump it the rest of the way. And actually, it's turned into a decent ball for Smith, who's got absolutely nobody with him. He's got to do this all on his own with 5 Braintree players around him. I mean, if he'd have scored there, it would have been a wonder goal. He's done quite well to not give the ball away. Would have been nice to maybe force a corner, but yeah, he was... Bearing in mind he's our usual defensive midfielder, we're trying him as a Mazzala today. If he'd have been able to do anything there, that would have been interesting, would have been spectacular. And talking of interesting and spectacular, they've had a player score his first goal of the season against us. It's a meaningless match. I hope we get to see a trophy celebration at the end of it, but it is infuriating how often players get their first goal of the season against me. It's just... It's unacceptable. It's so unacceptable. It's got stuck in my throat, and I'm gonna have to pause and cough it out. I think I'm furious. Don't worry, I recovered with a little sip of my coffee. So we're all. I mean, if I'm going to tell you I've done it, I may as well have just sipped the coffee on. Let's do it anyway. Here you go. Look, little bit of coffee left. Lovely. Can't you tell we've already won the league? The coffee's flowing. I should crack open a can of apple tango. Let's do the full-on celebrations. Come on, I've still got a coffee, and I'm now having a tango as well. This is what life in the National League is going to be like, boys and girls. Right, oh, that's delicious. That's better than the coffee I was drinking. Right, let's shuffle these boys around a little. Hinchy, let's get Hinchy on. Hinchy might be leaving. He's still reviewing his options at the end of the season, and we'll get Connor Johnson on as well. Just in case there's a trophy presentation, I want Connor Johnson to definitely be part of it. The one remaining Peterborough Sports original in the team anyway. Obviously, we're building a few of them in the backroom staff. But Connor Johnson is another one. The majority of these players are already under contract for next year. Lovely goal from Sewell. He's definitely under contract for next year. The question with some of them, like him, goal 31 of the season, is not so much is he under contract for next season. It's does anyone come in and try and buy him from us? Because our financial position is precarious. Although I've been a good boy and have stuck to all my budgets all the way through, that's not enough to get the job done at this level. We are hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of pounds in debt. We need to sell a player for $250,000, which is pretty unlikely, and have a run to the third round of the FA Cup and go away to Manchester United next season. I mean, we don't need much, do we? But we could really use a big cup run next year so that we can maybe flex our financial muscle a little bit more the following summer. Don't expect huge improvements to the squad in tomorrow's transfer special. I'll warn you of that now, because we just don't have the money to do it. We're going to have, theoretically, certainly financially, a weaker squad than we had at the start of this season, which is super. Right, Sayer, can we grab one more goal to cap off the season? Hingy plays it across to Onyeka, and Onyeka does grab the third. It's a 17 for the season for him. It's 3-1 for us on the final day. And, I mean, can anyone see the National League North trophy knocking around the place? It's weird that they'd give it to us in Braintree rather than letting us have it in Peterborough, but you never know. A trophy celebration somewhere is better than no trophy celebration. So are we gonna no, I guess they're just posting it to us. Is there even a trophy? I guess we'll never know, but who cares? Because the important thing is we are promoted, we are National League, and tomorrow we're going to go and do a load of transfers. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.